Hello and welcome to the Permaculture Vine podcast. I'm your host Cormac Harkin, and today we have Mohammed Saleh on the podcast. Welcome, Mohammed.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Cormac, for hosting me today.
Do you want to just give us a brief 30-second introduction, please, first, about who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
So, I've born in Nazareth and studied in Haifa, psychology and musicology, married in Jerusalem, and started my ecological journey when I was 28 years old in Turkey as a woofer, and that has changed my life. And since then, through the years, I created Mostadam Ecodesign, an ecological firm that I run for the last over a decade now, especially working in Jerusalem, teaching, implementing, and designing.
Great stuff. Looking forward to hearing more. Do you want to just take us back to how you ended up in Turkey woofing and how you came across permaculture?
Cool. I will take us just few months before I stepped in Turkey. I was working in a 9 to 5 job, and I was kind of fed up. It was not bad in any sense. It was an art gallery in Jerusalem, and I was exposed to a lot of nice things, but I didn't feel fulfilled. And there's a voice inside me that started calling for nature. I don't know where that came from. I didn't have an experience with nature as a kid, except, playing in the garden and so on, but nothing like farming, gardening, nothing. I wasn't raised in such with such background. And I started writing. By then, I was interested a lot in writing, like hip hop songs and stuff like that. And I started writing. First, I wrote about 9 to 5 job. And then I wrote the one in Arabic. بدي مصاري لعيشي بلا مصاري. I want money for a moneyless living. And then it goes a whole thing. And then I wrote wilderness, barari, 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 and so on. And it was all about I want to live in the nature. Just 2 months after writing this, I was exposed to a whole new world. I didn't know that it exists. Basically, my partner went to study master in Turkey in cinema and television, and I was a video editor, filmmaker, and stuff like that. And we wanted to go into that career, but I wanted something to do while she's studying. And I was, using a Gmail chat that in the past in 2009 there was Gmail chat that we used in the corner of Gmail, and I was writing to my Turkish friend who I lived with in Spain as a volunteer that I love nature. I mean, I want to come to Turkey. My wife is going there, and I said I just wrote a little sentence. I like nature, and she directed me to go to a place called Dedetepe in the mountains, in the Kaz Mountains of Çanakkale district, which looks over to Lesbos, the Greek island, to all this to the Mediterranean from that point of view. It was really beautiful, and these people basically on 10 dunums, a couple created kind of an educational ecological center in the middle of 200 plus olive trees, and it became a hub and a meeting place for a lot of people who are looking for meaningful life, meaningful change, something new to learn, something that breaks the system, something, and so on and so on. And I dropped there as a woofer, and after a month I liked it. I stayed the second, the third, and after 3 months, he asked me to manage the place. And from there, I stayed for about, in total, in and out, about 3.5 years, where my partner joined me after she finished her studies, and my son was born there. So this is how it all started.
Wow. And so you went from writing hip hop to going woofing, and then you stayed basically 3.5 years. So
Yeah.
what was the biggest shift? And Oh, and them 3.5 years. I take it you were enjoying it because you stayed.
Absolutely. I stayed in
Yeah.
it and I didn't think I will leave actually, but for reasons beyond me, it happened in the end. Um, I was fascinated. You know, the first day when I was taking the tour, the owner of the place was giving me the tour of where I will sleep, where is the kitchen, and this and that. And I was wowing all the time, like about everything. Imagine a city person that did all his life in the city, didn't know anything except the city, dropping on such a place, getting exposed to chickens and open air kitchen and sustainable heating and solar panels, windmills, log cabins, yurts, living in a container. Also, that was fascinating for me, absolutely fascinating. And I was given a little cement room that is very thin in thickness of the wall. It was basically a storage in the past, and my neighbors were the chickens. And I was given on the second day the mission to care for the chickens, and I was like, I know nothing, like nothing. And that pushed me. I was like, I don't want this job because I know nothing. He said, you're getting this job anyway. So I started reading about chickens in the internet, and just in the beginning, like PDF and so on, I started realizing the wrong design of the coop from the inside, and I started changing, and every night going to observe with my flashlight to see if the chickens adapted to my change, and they adapted, like in many ways, where they sleep, where they porch, where they put the eggs, and so on and so on. So it was very successful, and it encouraged me to go on. So this part of exploring a lot of things, like a huge spectrum of stuff that I didn't know, even cutting the wood, even cutting your own wood to make the fire is something that I was not exposed to. So it was fascinating in every sense to learn how to use the axe. And the people, if we take the features out, the people, which is the biggest part of all that, was incredible for me. So I saw people coming from all over the world, changing their life, changing the career, studying something in the university, and now they're expert and working in something completely different that is meaningful and touches their heart. It's something they know how to do and serve through. Like a guy from France who studied something, I don't know what, in the university, and he comes and now he's studying eco building, and he got married there, Matthew, and so on. He came on a rusty bike, literally on a rusty bike from France, that broke out. Like when he was leaving, it broke down, broke up, or something like that. I don't know how to say in English, but broke just as he wanted to leave. He stood, he fixed it, he put all the bags, and he left. So it was so inspiring to see all kind of people who come for 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, 7 months, everyone with their story, with their age, like a Swiss family with their children coming in a van, traveling through whole Europe to show their kids this kind of life everywhere along the way, and other cultures and stuff like that. A German brother and sister walking from Germany to Turkey. It's like, man, for me this was this was like really, really beautiful. And one thing that I learned through exposure to this and to these people, and maybe later on we will talk about exposure to information and permaculture and natural farming and so on. One thing that a guy like me, from my background, from my kind of community, from the way I was upraised, I developed there inside me the feeling of I can. I realized until then, and through the first year, I was I was with I can't. Okay, I was living with I can't. Okay, being also in belonging to a suppressed community, where you are a minority and you don't have power. You embed in you the feeling of I can't, and things are complicated and someone else decides for me. And in this type of life, this evolved in me, and this was very, very powerful. So yeah, so the people, the features of the farm, and yeah, I didn't say why it's an ecological educational center. Basically, from April to October, November, it was basically an education, hosting educational courses that comes for short, like a one night, one day, or one night, or 3 days, a weekend, or a week, and so on, of different things, like from sweet to sour, as we say in Arabic, from composting to quantum physics, passing all the way through homeopathy, photography of nature, reading the stars in the sky and how to move into that, Montessori education, camping with kids without any sugar and screens. Uh, Basically a whole spectrum of things that were really, really fascinating. Watching and dialoguing with animals. We went into the night, and the teacher started doing voices to talk with the owls, and the male owl started flying above our head, because that voice that he heard is for another male that shouldn't be in his territory. So this was, this was like, for me, I can't explain how amazing and fascinating this was. So all sitting and in the kitchen, in an open air kitchen, 365 days a year, snowing, super hot, night, day, we're eating outside. Amazing. When I don't go well with the wind, because it's not so well for me. I don't know, the wind disturbs me. In there, I fall in love with the wind, because when there is a wind, it means the windmill will work and we will have electricity, and we might to watch a movie in the night together in a snowy night. So you start appreciating every single thing in the nature. Every single thing becomes valuable when you see the connection, and you see how nature corresponds, and every that it fills me. It really filled me, and I would say even more tuned me. I learned an Arabic word when I came back from Turkey. It's called da'afi, and many Arabs don't know the meaning, and it means the holistic health of psychologically and physically. And I think I tasted it only there in the mountains in Turkey.
Yeah, especially your background and where you're grown up from, a very urban, very, as you say, suppressed place.
Mm,
The open, free,
mm,
uh, plunked in the middle of nature for 3.5 years. It's a very stark contrast,
mm,
uh,
absolutely. Mm.
and it's something everybody should do at least for a short while.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
addictive. I would say, sorry to interrupt you, but I would say something that I noticed. We pumped our water from the river there. When the sun goes up, the pump starts to work, and the pump pumps up to the top of the place, in the tank, the water. And just a side note, that we were cleaning using our own made bacteria, which smelled so good, into the tank. So there is this. In that river, in the beginning, when I arrived after a month, it was so cold, and I tried to go in, and I needed to encourage myself so much. And in the end, when I went in, I was like screaming. 1 year forward from that moment, I came to the river next year to swim, and it was a breeze. It was cold, but I was reacting in a completely different way. My body and my mental was completely different towards something that is so, you can understand how difficult it is to be in cold water that comes coming through the mountain, and basically you're changed. You can see that you are changed because of that type of life. So yeah, this is just a little part of how nature changed me.
And what more to the practical sense? What kind of food was growing there? What was the climate like? Was it
Yeah.
permaculture style? Was it farming? Was it?
Mm, mm. Except the olive picking and the olive soap making and an olive oil, which was really really good. That is also cold pressed and everything. We had a garden, not for sale, not a commercial garden, but we were planting in it all kind of things, and it was sometimes really successful and sometimes less, depends on who's on the place. And Mediterranean stuff, and in the Mediterranean a lot of things grow. So squashes, leeks, onions, tomatoes, cucumbers, mint, watermelons, melons, lettuces, you name it, a lot of things, broccoli, Brussels sprouts that I saw for the first time in my life, fava beans, beans, a huge spectrum of things can grow in the Mediterranean. So, and it was all watered wisely, which is really nice. We also later on, it was my first project that I designed after studying permaculture, was a grey water system filtration through several natural biological filtration, and then that was watering few trees and so on. Yeah, we had fruit trees, pomegranates, citruses, what else? What kind of trees? Mainly citruses and pomegranate, and few, yeah, few, what do you call it in English? The family of almonds. We have a name in it in Arabic, but the big seed fruits like the um, oh, it's not coming in English, but
You can
peach,
say,
the
yeah,
peach,
right.
and the family peach. What do you call it in English?
The peach.
No, the whole family. You have a name.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because in Arabic we call it lawziyat, and lawziyat is the because all of those are grafted on almonds, on sour, on bitter almond, and because of this, they have a name called like like almondi, something like that.
Okay, I must. I'll look that up when we're
Yeah,
finished.
yeah,
So did you? I know 3.5 experience is more than enough because you've done all that practical stuff. Did you get any formal education during that time?
yeah. Uh, Towards after halfway through, I think at some point, I we moved to the city at some point before coming back, because my partner needed to continue her studies and make some exams, and there I started a permaculture course online through an American course, and that's the education I got that is related to permaculture.
Great stuff. So then you've done all this. What happens then? You be there for 3.5 years in Turkey, and then is
Mm,
it back to Palestine then?
mm. Yeah. So I would say to connect to while living in Turkey on that location, and being exposed to all that I've been exposed to, plus the permaculture. I mean, I started with Masanobu Fukuoka, The Natural Farming, the One Straw Revolution book. It was my first book that broke the ice between me and books, because I was not a reader in any way, and my father is a huge reader, and I was not interested. But here, someone is talking about things that lived in my heart, things that resonated with me deeply. And I read Fukuoka, and I realized that he's talking to an already established farmers, and I'm no one in this sense. I'm just a city boy who trying to learn things. In my first month in the farm, I learned that if you take a vine branch and put it in the soil, it will root and make a new vine. And this is something I didn't know. So I'm completely a beginner at that point. So And I started looking for answers, and permaculture gave me the answers because it started answering the questions on my level. And the course established a kind of a system for absorbing all these answers in something that I can, connect together, like all the answers together, not see things as fragmented, but see how everything connects together: the chickens to the gray water, to the garden, to the kitchen, to the bins, to the heat, so everything became connected to each other, to the people, of course. And while there and acquiring all this ability inside of I feel I can, and then the permaculture giving me practical tools and hope into being able practically to change something in this world, I had the question in my mind: if I go back, uh, how I want how I want work again 9 to 5, and how I will help with this information the people back there, because this was really valuable information and knowledge and tools and expertise and experience that I can apply and share with people back home. And eventually it happened in 2015 that I went back after 5 years in Turkey in total, not all of them on the site. I came back, and I didn't know actually. It was like really leaving heaven. First of all, it broke my heart, I have to tell you. Until today, I dream to live in nature again. In no sense I'm interested to stay in the city. But 10 years passed, so I have to adapt to this, and I'm adapting for the last 10 years. But I came back. I'm back into Jerusalem, big city, more than a half a million people, traffic lights, streets, all that. Um, and the first reaction was, I want to find people like me. Is there anyone who think like me? Is there anyone who's interested in this? And I started, of course, researching on the internet, putting keywords in Google, like Palestine ecology, Palestine permaculture, Palestine recycling, etc., etc. And I actually started finding people, and I started connecting to people, visiting people, talking to people. And this was like for me big hope, because I started to see that I'm not like an island in the middle of nowhere. Actually, there is a network around me, everyone doing something else, like someone is doing the seed library, recycling, like you go to how you say, how to call it, craftsmen. What they have, the craftsmen, they have a workshop, to go to a workshop with all the tools of a carpenter and blacksmith, but it's for recycling, and that guy, the owner of this project, is my best friend until this moment, from the moment I met him. Now he's closed this, and he's working on something even bigger and more amazing. Someone else is doing something more commercial, related to dates. Someone that is building buildings from natural material. Someone else empowering people in very, very tough environments, under a lot of pressure from the occupation and so on. So I tried to find my place in that, and I had no plan. Honestly, I had no plan whatsoever. I'm not a business person. I was just at this moment passionate about what the universe introduced me to through this experience in Turkey. So I started working in my own garden, doing, I mean, I don't have a garden. It's my parents-in-law. They have a garden. It's abandoned. Nobody is doing anything in it, and it's like, sad and abandoned. They only weed and burn, slash and burn. So I started doing things there. I made a design. I made it on the computer, 2D, 3D. I started, I introduced it to my father-in-law. He liked it. He invested into the money in the project. I was just coming back from Turkey. I didn't have resources, and we made that design. We made beautiful things, and I was learning as I go. Like always, you make, you learn. When I did that, I took photos of the results, and I wanted to share it with people. In the beginning, I shared it in an email to friends, and then later on, one day, I thought, I don't use social media, but why not maybe create something that is not so common? 2015, social media around me was people photographing themselves, that they traveled, that they ate, that they did this and that. There was no all this content. It was only like very, very individual shares of people's lives. And I thought, why not make something that is with content, something that I can share this with the people, not something personal. And when I was in the shower, I thought what I would call it. And, I was direct, and I thought about the word sustainable. And I thought what that word is in Arabic. Okay, I don't want to import, in a sense, it's importing maybe, but I don't want to import ideas. I want to be unique and genuine. And I thought, I don't know the meaning of sustainability in Arabic. I don't know the word. And while in the shower, I thought maybe it can be something. And when I went out and grabbed the dictionary and opened it to check, it was really that word. Mustadam is what I call my firm or my social enterprise. Mostadam. And it connected to me a bit to the way I'm sometimes called Mo, and Mo Mostadam, and I am also Saleh. So SA is also my initial, my like my family name. So it connected to me as if something personal is happening there in the name. And I made a page. I called it something. I didn't have a logo, nothing, just a photo of the work, and I made a post of this. Slowly it started to catch attention, and I was started to do things for friends, or for people around me. And at one point my partner found me a paid opportunity, and I was so scared. I was so damn terrified to take that job. It was really, I can tell you, it was symbolically paid. Like, it's not even big money or anything. It's basically hardly anything. But I wasn't sure I can do this. And I took this play garden. Um, it was a playhouse that has a site as a play garden, and someone proposed plastic grass and plastic shadings. I was like, wow, that's an awful idea, but I don't want to shoot anyone, like I don't want to talk bad about anyone. I said, I will draw to you something. If you like it, you say yes. And we agree, and I do it, and I do it. So I was into this, SketchUp, making everything, making the tour through the garden, every detail, and so on. And actually I presented it to her and to her partner, and she really liked it. I saw that she got really excited. They went to talk a bit and so on, and they gave me the job, and I delivered it in 2 months. I would deliver this now in 10 days, but I had no tools. I was working literally with 10 hand tools, no power tools of whatsoever. And I wanted to make everything perfect to the detail. Like one, 5 days, I was just sanding shipping pallets to make vertical gardens with them, which I collected from the streets on wheelbarrow. And like that, I created not to get into a lot of details of this garden, but I created like four corners One, I called it the energy corner. It's the sand pool with the logs around and the climbing wall. One corner is called the small house, and it's with tires and chipping pallets. I made small kitchen, small shower, a little fence with flowers, and like as if tiled floor. As soon as you enter this garden barefoot, there is, and this is something I'm proud of, because until now I didn't see in the internet one time it's done like that. I made the sensational path, but it looked like a feet. So with five fingers, five toes, and the feet, and the toes were logs, and they were stairs. You go up on these stairs to reach to the imaginary shower that the kids play with, and it was filled with a lot of things that the kids can sense with their legs. One corner was the amphitheater with big log for the teacher to tell the kids a story, and around her all the shipping pallets with all the greenery coming out and also climbing up on pipes that I also found in the streets. And the fourth corner is the rainbow corner, because it's round. It's a lawn that made only from white clover that I established myself. Imagine, this is like, all this is I'm making for the first time in my life, like making a lawn from white clover. I didn't even know if it will actually will come up. It will really become green. Like, I'm scattering seeds, and I'm looking into the internet that I need to put 4 seeds for a €1 size of like a space, and I'm scattering them so carefully and watering them every day. And around this was 7 colors of flowers. So yeah, this is the kind of garden I established, and I delivered, and I took photos, and people started to visit, and I still feel I'm not accomplished, and I want to make more. It was so colorful, so fine with every detail, and hardly we bought anything. Like, I can say 90% recycled. Maybe the irrigation system, which is very difficult to recycle. Even when you wash the floor, I had a gray water for that, established on the gray water that I built in the farm. So the photos of this and the other garden started to open for this opportunity for me of making my passion into a profession, really organically, really randomly. That's what was the start, 2016.
Yeah, and that's is that on your Facebook page? Can people go and look at that? It,
Yeah,
it sounds
it's
it sounds amazing. So
mm,
I the Mostadam
eco design.
Ecodesign. So I'll leave the link there. That's sounds like you've gone into a lot of detail, and it's funny that you didn't feel you were sort of worthy of it after 3.5 years experience, when people get a PDC and just start designing.
Mm,
I suppose it's a good way to be, but as well, it's like having that confidence to just do it.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, so you
I,
said you used, yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
comment about that. In that garden I composted my fear.
Class.
Totally. That was my project that I said, okay, I can do it. Everyone is
Uh,
saying I can do it, I will do it.
yeah, fantastic.
Mm.
So you said you use Google SketchUp for your designs.
Yeah, Google SketchUp, but recently I was introduced through a colleague that is a permaculture designer to Affinity.
Yep.
Too, and I purchased it, and she's helping me learn it. It helps because 2D designs are less time consuming than 3D designs, and many times in my community they don't want to invest into designs, and this way I can have at least a little plan for them, and not just work on random thing or make a huge 3D thing.
Yeah. So we have a course coming up now, starting in April. It's called PDC to Professional. So
Mm,
it's basically teaching you digital design, basically on
mm,
Affinity.
mm,
So it's how do you make a base map, how do you get your border, how do you make your heather rows, and then how do you take that drawing and put it on a website,
mm.
so to build your portfolio. So after the course, somebody should have their first design and a portfolio
mm.
online.
Yeah.
That's just a wee plug for us.
That's very beautiful. Actually, I saw the course and it impressed me, and I looked through it, and I say, as someone who have been into the business for 10 years, what you're teaching there is really on spot, making your own website, knowing how to use a software. These things you don't get in a permaculture course, but and you also don't know that you need them, or what they are, or which software. And that's why it's so good for someone who's starting to kick their career with such a course. So I really like the course. And now I realized, when I said my colleague introduced me to it, she she's also the colleague that introduced me to you. So Eleonor Tudini from Italy, she's the one that is helping me also with the affinity and so on. So thanks to her that I also sit with you today.
Yeah, Eleanor stuff is. I always use it as an example of how good you can design. It's
Mm,
artwork.
mm,
What Eleanor does.
mm,
But what we're promoting is you don't have to get the Eleanor standard, which is the best I've seen on Affinity. You just have to get something that looks presentable to a client
mm,
and able to just represent to a client that this is what you're going to do
mm,
without spending. I imagine Google SketchUp took you hours
mm. Yeah.
to get it all 3D rendered. Did you do it in 3D?
Yeah, 3D. I learned it in a month, even less. So,
Yeah.
the best way sometimes is to know what you want, and then to start asking the internet how to do it. And that's how you learn what you really need. If you have the time, and this is something that I really can't afford as a family provider with two kids and so on. I don't have enough time, so sometimes I can't go for learning the whole thing is in an established way. I go for what I need and I use it, and that's it.
Yeah. Another point I've picked up on there. There's a certain voices in the permaculture space will say that it's privileged and that you need money and that you
Mm,
need all these resources and
mm,
it's out of reach of people. But I think you've proven that you were resourceful and you went out and it's not privileged. It's
mm,
you have 90% recycled and you went out and produced a beautiful product, a beautiful garden
mm,
on minimal resources.
mm.
So I think it's an excellent example of that. So if you can do it where you are, people should be able to do it anywhere.
Absolutely. I can say, if you have anyone like that, just send them to me. I by experience for the last 14 years, I lived it, I did it, and I still do it. Sometimes some projects come with big money to do huge stuff, and it's just to make the whole thing shorter in timeline. But can you do it without all this? Yes, absolutely. You can build it as you go, and this is the way. Start small and simple. It's in permaculture, and I really believe in it, and it worked for me very well.
Yeah. And you met Eleanor at Alfred Decker's course, was it? The teaching permaculture?
Absolutely. In Spain, last November, it was like a permaculture teacher course training, in association with Permaculture for Refugees. We were thankfully supported to attend this course. So that's where I met her. Yeah.
And do you want to tell us about the course? How it went?
Yeah, it went really well. We were like about 20 plus participants. I made a video about it, by the way. I was, like kindly for just to say I appreciate the thing, out of the photos and the videos of the course. So maybe I can share the link with you. We were 20 plus participants, biggest group Lebanon, second is Palestinians. There was also people from Syria, Afghanistan, who lives in Europe. There was people from Europe, maybe from Americas. I'm not sure if they live in Europe or they are not. So there was this kind of synergy. The group worked together really well, and the structure was to get used and break the ice with uh, all that is needed to teach. And this is something that I have been doing for 10 years now, teaching in schools to teachers and students. And in there, even for me as someone who's doing it, and also taught like 5 6 permacultures worldwide now, I acquired a lot of nice things in these sessions called micro teaching, where you are pushed to present about one thing for 5 minutes the first time, about something else for 10 minutes the second day, on the third day for 15, on the fourth day for 20, and then on the second and the third also you have to work not one on one but with a group, and the last one is in a group to prepare to teach the whole group about something, about your own course, about your own PDC. So in this sense, this because I make really really nice presentations that go well for me by to deliver the content really simply and also keep it engaged, but they are really like big presentations. So when I think about teaching, I always think in big chunks, and I honestly, I have to say, I can't sit 3 4 5 6 hours of teaching and people get still fascinated and interested in teaching. But this course was so beautiful to show me that I can break it into 5 to 10 to 20 minutes sessions of topics, just to keep things way more dynamic. So that what was stuck with me the most in this course. This in addition to the connections, because the people that were in the course were really really beautiful and special, different ages, different backgrounds, and we're still making a group to work on things and evolve things together. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good because it's very. You get a lot of content from America. You get a lot of from Europe. Not so much the Middle East. Like I wouldn't even have known there was an eco place in Turkey or what. It's good to get the voices from these
Mm,
more places that are practicing permaculture and proof and get the work put out there.
mm.
I know Jeff Lawton. He's in Jordan.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, woofing now is a good window to know about stuff. So woofing Jordan, woofing. I don't know if there is woofing Jordan, but I'm saying woofing Turkey. So wherever there is a country that has woofing, woofing is a great place to get introduced in the beginning to all the projects that are there. Permaculture projects, there is all kind. Jeff Lawton, because it's known worldwide in Jordan, of course, greening the desert. But there is also things that I follow online that I hear about, something like called Rawabi Farah in Jordan. If we are talking about Jordan, there is Slimani in Palestine, in the West Bank. There is Marda Farm as well in the West Bank, not far from Slimani. Slimani is the ladybug, is the but they are. This is how it's called in Arabic. There is the heirloom seed library, which is not a location; it's more a library of seeds by Vivian Sansour. The project I told you about that now is closed. Resign. There's Mostadam, my project. There is things here and there that are happening. I have to say, because I'm so busy, I'm not the best one to know everything that is there, but I'm sure I can assure you there is a lot of good things. One, now I remember, one of the most impressive project I've come across is in Egypt. It's called Sekem, Sekem. It follows beautiful principles of biodynamics. They created there a community, an amazing community in the middle of nowhere, greened the whole place, worked profoundly on all parts of that supports a human living, the buildings, the education, everything. And I hope one day I can visit them. But this is something that comes to my mind.
yeah, I'll have to get you to provide a list of a few of them
Mm,
for the listeners, just so they can uh, just to sort of promote them
mm,
that are around there.
mm,
Um, so after your first few designs, let's take a step back.
mm.
Uh, so what's next, or what's what did you do after your first three designs?
Mm. When I started to be known, the firm started to be known, the services were mostly serving schools in East Jerusalem. So I have been working in schools 90% of the time for the last 9 years with training teachers and working with kids, establishing real gardens like rooftop, aquaponics, geodomes, greenhouses, raised beds, all kind of all kind of urban gardens because these schools are big infrastructures, indoor gardens, sustainable projects that I included in them also the zone 00 of permaculture, like introducing the kids to yoga, to a lot of things that makes them more empowered from the inside because sustainability or regeneration is inside out. So this is what I'm doing mainly. I've taught permaculture in Wales with my tutor Alice Gray. I also taught in Jericho with my colleague Iba Farrah and Murad Al Khuffash. Um, through the years, and now I'm really really interested, not for a year, not for two, for a lot of time, to launch my permaculture course where the whole content is built in a very very um, uh, uh, you know um, established way, well done, with assignments, not to test people but to keep the information consolidated, breaking the whole structure of the course in not the way I learned it, but I want to mix it in a different way because I know my culture will deal better with that structure. So I want to launch this PDC in Arabic, first locally and then to the whole Arabic world. And this is something that I'm working on, but it goes really, really slowly because I'm busy with Mostadam, with hands-on in the field projects, like today when I was talking to you, the Geodome greenhouse. Uh, but it's a passion in my heart. It's like an amber. I want to really step forward and go out of implementation into education because this will help me connect to more people that are like-minded, and this is something that I'm longing for very 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 deeply, in here and also in the Arabic world, and later on also internationally. So this is where I'm about. I just started building the landing page of that course. I have like 35%, 50, 40% of the content ready in presentations, but when you have to squeeze it here and there is not difficult. I hope that I can get some support that helps me to not how you say, not worry a lot about keep to take again and again hands-on projects and to delay them a bit or to stop taking them for a while so I can dedicate enough time for this project that the income will only come after a lot of work. So that's where I am today.
Yeah. So, do you have a GoFundMe or anything like that for the PDC?
No,
Are you
actually,
raising funds?
I only learned about GoFundMe lately, like maybe a week, 10 days ago. So that's a good start. I asked actually a friend about it who was in Spain. She did it for the first time, and she's asking for 1,000 pounds, 600, so 1,600 pounds. And I need something like maybe around 50,000 euro, and she said maybe that's a big number for GoFundMe. So I don't know. I'm studying it. I need to see. I'm looking also for advices on how to go about this. Actually, I really don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be an expert on it myself.
Mm,
So
mm.
I take it there is no online PDC in Arabic that exists.
No,
Right, so there's
no.
a big market
Actually,
there.
yeah, big market, and actually, very little people on the ground are doing permaculture. At least in Palestine, handful of people. Maybe they are increasing. Young people are coming in now, and in the Arabic world, I tried to search, and I'm not finding. I'm sure there's beautiful people, but there's nothing the way I'm explaining.
Yeah. So if you ever need any help with that, just let us know when you're. We'll give you a plug on the website.
Thank you very much. Yeah, as soon as I'm ready, actually, I will send your way the landline, the landing page of the course.
Yeah, that's no bar. Mohammed, is there anything we haven't chatted about?
Actually, yeah, that was very inclusive of everything of the story and what came from it, what fruited from it, I think, and up to today, what I'm working on. I think this is pretty covers the whole spectrum. I hope in the future, maybe let's put that just out of the way. I'm still dreaming to live again in the nature, and because since 5 years I acquired some knowledge and skills into healing, because I really started believing into permaculture work, in healing as a permaculture work, because the human is doing the harm to nature, and he's or she's doing it because of the lack of consciousness, because a lot of us are harming nature, not because we hate nature or we don't like it, but because we lack consciousness sometimes. And I see it in the kids, in the teachers, everywhere I go. So I hope one day I will have that place, like a cocoon in the nature, where people can come as for a sanctuary, natural sanctuary, to heal, to get empowered, and to learn practical skills. That's all.
I say that's more than enough.
Yeah.
Mohammed, thank you very much. And for everybody listening, that was Mohammed Saleh on the Permaculture Vine podcast. As I mentioned there, we have the PDCD Pro launching again. So if you'd like to look in the description, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, Mohammed.
Thank you, Cormac. Thank you very much.